Hello everybody, and welcome back to the world we live in. I'll be your host, Mr. Ransom, and today we will be discussing some creepy, unsolved missing persons cases. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into that. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, you could go ahead and do that. Number 1. The Sauter Children. It was Christmas Eve in 1945, West Virginia, when George and Jenny Sauter allowed their 9 children to stay up later than they should have. They were all excited for Christmas the next morning. Jenny remembers just after midnight when the phone rang. When she answered the phone, all she could hear on the other end was a weird laugh. Not long after the family had went to bed, around 1 a.m., they heard something large hitting the roof, making a very loud bang, and a half hour later, the house was engulfed in flames. The parents managed to rescue 4 of their children, and right before the entire property collapsed. The fire department showed up late because they were short-staffed. They searched the debris, looking for bones or any remains of the other 5 missing children, but they had no leads. So then they were assumed missing. Their parents even paid for a large billboard to put pictures up of their children, which displayed all around town, with still no avail. There were never any leads or any connections to the missing children. Some theories say that it was connected to the Sicilian Mafia, alien activity, or a serial killer, but still to this day, no one has been able to solve the tragic mystery of the Sauter children. Number 2. The Village of Hore Verde. In 1923, more than 600 people vanished abruptly from a village, Hore Verde, Brazil, and still to this day, no one has an explanation for the mystery. When people decided to travel to the village to see if they could figure out the mystery, they went in all the well-built homes, which all were abandoned. There were no signs of ambush, kidnapping, just creepily a school blackboard which had "There is no salvation" written in chalk. A manhunt began for the villagers, and one popular theory was that all of the villagers fled due to political climate in Brazil, and they feared conflict with the guerrillas. Despite this theory being believable, nobody could understand how 600 people could just get up and vanish and never be found inhabiting anywhere else. Conspiracy theories have blamed alien abduction, but again, it's another mystery that never will be explained. Number 3. Sarah Jo and the Missing Crew. It was an early morning in 1979 when 5 friends decided they were going to go on a fishing trip on their sailboat, the Sarah Jo, off the coast of Maui, Hawaii. When they set sail, nobody expected it to be the last time that anybody would see them alive. The 5 friends, Peter Hanchett, Ralph Melenicki, Benjamin Kalama, Scott Moorman, and Patrick Wosner, all close friends, were never seen again. About 2 years later, and 2,000 miles away, on a small island of Tanagi, they discovered a shallow grave which contained the wreckage of the ship and a human jawbone. Records show that the jawbone belonged to Scott Moorman. One popular theory is that the Sarah Jo may have been caught in a terrible storm and was shipwrecked on the island, and the friends went missing. although that fails to explain the mysterious way the jawbone was positioned alongside a cryptic burial papers that represented a Chinese burial. With no other remains found, we may never know what really happened to the crew of the Sarah Joe. And to this day, it is still unexplained. Number 4. The missing village of Lake Anjikuni. In 1930, the small Inuit village in Nunavut, Canada, completely disappeared. Fur trappers who were passing through the area found the entire village deserted, with no signs of the 25 men, women, and children who lived in the area. Belongings and supplies have never been touched. There were still food on the stove, fireplaces that were just loaded up, food ready on tables, no signs of a struggle. Even the sled dogs had starved to death when they were found. Several graves have been dug in the area, but these were unassuming. The fur trappers reported the missing village to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who conducted an investigation, but just reached a dead end. Then, in a strange U-turn, the police claimed the village had never existed, but theorists were not happy with this claim, as it doesn't explain why they would have begun the search in the first place. Wherever the villagers had disappeared to, no one will ever really know. Theories range from alien abduction to the Yeti and other mysterious happenings. It's like the Inuit villagers just got up and left for no apparent reason, to never be seen again. Number 5. The disappearance of Dorothy Arnold. The disappearance of Dorothy Arnold is one of the most historic cases of a missing person. Dorothy was born into a wealthy family. She was highly regarded heiress of the Solicit and an aspiring writer. In 1910, aged 25, Dorothy vanished from the busy streets of New York City to never be seen again. Not one person witnessed seeing Dorothy on the day of her disappearance, and her family noted nothing unusual about her behavior. When she failed to make it back home that evening, her family started to inquire amongst her friends and family if they had seen their daughter. Despite their innocence in her disappearance, investigators found it highly unusual that her parents contacted a lawyer before they even reported her missing. A total of 6 weeks had passed before they finally called the police, which is a really long time, investigators say, to report somebody missing. Many theories have surrounded the disappearance of Dorothy, such as suicide due to rejection by several publishers. Others believe she was murdered for her wealth. Others believe her parents murdered her for her wealth, who looked down on her career as a writer. Her own family believes she was murdered with walking through Central Park. Whatever the case may be, it's unlikely anyone will ever know the truth about what happened to Dorothy. Number 5. The USS Cyclops. In 1918, the USS Cyclops, a ship with crew members up to 306 members and passengers on board, disappeared without a trace within an unknown area of the Bermuda Triangle. At the time, Franklin D. Roosevelt was Assistant Secretary of the Navy, and he declared all those on board as officially lost. It was the largest disaster in U.S. Navy history that did not involve combat. This was the first of many mysterious disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle area, which is in the western part of the northern Atlantic, that led to be renamed the Devil's Triangle. a large number of aircraft, ships, and other objects disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and many believed it to be down to UFO activity. Even stranger is that the Navy refuses to acknowledge the area even exists. In their report on the most dangerous areas for shipping, the Bermuda Triangle is not even mentioned. So is the U.S. government hiding something, covering something up? We may never know. But more is, we may never know whatever happened to the USS Cyclops. Okay, that's our video for today, folks. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. And if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up, that will be greatly appreciated. Stay tuned for our next video. Go down in the comments and leave us some ideas. Like I said, I'm just trying to get this page started so I could